This is Kawagoe Castle. The year is 1545. Our Hojo fortress is completely surrounded by the army of Ogigayatsu Tomosada, a scion of the Uesugi clan. Our forces are outnumbered, but there may yet be hope. Word has come that a Hojo army is marching to relieve the siege. Even better, the besieging forces seem so confident of victory that they are not keeping a proper watch. We must hold out until reinforcements arrive. Then our clan brothers can deal a deadly blow to the besieging army. Stand strong, my brother. Victory awaits us on the horizon.
I suggest we send archers to the palisades. They will be deadly to any approaching foes. Finally! Our reinforcements are on the battlefield. Victory is yours, my lord! The enemy is broken! A fitting doom has befallen the Uesugi!
Imagawa Yoshimoto arrived at Okehazama with greater forces than Oda Nobunaga. The Imagawa arrived in such numbers that several of Lord Nobunaga's advisors pleaded with him to surrender, an option he refused to consider. Yoshimoto was so confident of victory that he allowed his men to celebrate before the battle. Lord Nobunaga led his men to the gorge with the Imagawa camp, but he ordered a small force to stay behind in the Oda camp. They were to put up many flags to mislead Yoshimoto. As Nobunaga watched the Imagawa, good fortune came to his aid. A rainstorm began. The storm and the Imagawa revelries set the stage for a decisive attack that would go down in Japanese history as a pivotal moment.
The plan is to move the army around to the north of the camp, and then attack from there. First, however, we must clear Yoshimoto's patrols in the forest. For surprise and speed, we shall use only the cavalry. When the patrols are gone, we will attack the camp. Our target is Yoshimoto's tent. We must reach the tent and kill Yoshimoto before the Imagawa realize what is happening.
The enemy has seen us and is going to the camp for help.
The gorge is surrounded by Nobunaga's army! Allow the camp! Now that the patrols are gone, attack the camp! Remember, our target is Yoshimoto! Take his head! To arms, all! To arms! This victory will long be remembered as the moment when all Japan learned of our worth.
For 8 years and 3 battles, Uesugi Kenshin struggled against Takeda Shingen. They met for the fourth time on the Hachimambara Plain in Kawanakajima. Reliable spies had informed Uesugi Kenshin of movement within the Takeda castle during the night before the battle. Takeda Shingen split his army in two, believing this to be a secret. He would lead 1/3 of his men down onto the plain during the night. The remainder, under the command of his leading general, were to climb Mount Saijo, where the Uesugi were camped, to catch them unawares and drive them down onto the plain and onto the waiting spears of Takeda's men. Lord Uesugi, as always, proved to be Takeda Shingen's equal. During the night, he silently marched onto the plain. He now had the advantage as he moved against the unsuspecting Takeda army. With Takeda Shingen's army divided and superior Uesugi numbers on the plain, victory for Uesugi Kenshin was now a clear possibility.
My lord, look! Takeda troops are at the river, crossing on our flank! Finally! Complete victory!
What we craved is ours. The Takeda will think twice about entering Shinano.
This is the province of Omi. The year is 1570. Oda Nobunaga and Tokugawa Ieyasu are marching north along the eastern shore of Lake Biwa. Nobunaga means to fight Asai Nagamasa, his brother-in-law, and Nagamasa's allies, the Asakura clan, who have plotted against him. The Asai and Asakura armies are in a defensive position along the Anegawa River. Their position blocks the plain beneath the Asai's most formidable fortress, Odani Castle. Watching the battle from the castle above will be Nagamasa's father, Asai Hisamasa. Oda Nobunaga's sister, Oichi, is also in the castle. Nobunaga wants her back. Oda Nobunaga knows that he has the Asai cornered. If he defeats them, there will be no escape for anyone in Odani Castle. He has split his army. The Oda will meet the Asai on the right. On the left, the Tokugawa will face the Asakura. If his battle plan works, then the two wings should attack Odani Castle from either side. Tokugawa Ieyasu is confident and knows that his army will play a crucial role in today's victory.
Commander! Lord Nobunaga is engaging the enemy and requests us to cross the river to support his attack. Yet the Oda face more resistance. Perhaps we should send men to their aid. The Asai and Asakura are crushed! All of Japan will surely tremble as the Oda and the Tokugawa march onwards!
It is 1574, and Oda Nobunaga is laying siege to the Koiki fortress at Nagashima. This is his third attempt to reduce the island citadel. Sited in a river delta on the border of Ise and Owari provinces, the fortress has been a thorn in Nobunaga's side for years. Stung by his previous failures to capture the stronghold, the warlord has now brought all his forces to bear against the Koiki. Nagashima is completely surrounded. There is no escape by either land or sea. Nobunaga's plan does not anticipate surrender, nor does he anticipate survivors. The Oda have set fire to the fortress from the outside. In the strong winds, the fire should take hold quickly. The Koiki must fight their way out of the castle before they burn to death inside.
My lord, the fortifications are ablaze, and the fire is spreading! This is the moment to break this siege! The Dog Nobunaga and his Oda army have been put to flight! The fortress is burned, but we are still masters of this land!
It is June 1575, and Nagashino Castle in Mikawa province is under attack. After an incursion deep into Tokugawa territory failed, Takeda Katsuyori led his army back into the mountains and now besieges the fortress at Nagashino. He can count among his forces the fearsome Takeda cavalry, known to be the finest in Japan. The young Takeda warlord is keen to be successful in his attack on Nagashino after the failure of his raid so far. However, word has now reached Tokugawa Ieyasu that his castle is under attack. The Tokugawa are not without powerful friends. Oda Nobunaga, the foremost warlord in central Japan, has brought his army to relieve the siege. Among his army are his many matchlock gunners. Nobunaga means to deploy these gunners behind wooden palisades alongside regular infantry, all to protect them from the Takeda cavalry. However, Nobunaga knows that his defensive position is unlikely to save the Nagashino garrison. He has sent a flanking army into the hills to the south. Once the Takeda are defeated at the palisades, the flanking force will be able to relieve the castle. The Oda, therefore, have two battles to win. They must repel the Takeda cavalry at their defensive line, and also relieve Nagashino Castle before it falls.
The Takeda are advancing! Soon their horses will be upon us! We must defend the palisades! The Takeda have been swept from the field and are fleeing to the mountains! The siege is broken! A glorious victory!
This is the Kizu River in 1578. 2 years after losing an earlier battle, Admiral Kuki Yoshitaka of the Oda clan has returned. His task is to break the supply lines to Ishiyama Honganji, the cathedral fortress under siege by Oda Nobunaga, his daimyō. Yoshitaka has come with 6 huge all-atakabune warships. Among the crew are many seasoned matchlock ashigaru, survivors of the bloody battle here 2 years ago. The defending fleet is led by Murakami Takayoshi, a Mori admiral, more used to fighting with conventional ships. Although weaker, these ships are faster and more agile than the other vessels. They are the only hope for a Mori victory against the superior Oda force. The Oda fleet's overwhelming strength looks almost certain to defeat the Mori. Almost.
Despite the impressive strength of the enemy, We have achieved a glorious victory!
Lord Mitsunari arrived at Sekigahara before Lord Ieyasu and camped on Mount Sasao. During the night, Ieyasu's men made the difficult journey around Mount Nangu and entered Sekigahara, all the while hidden by a heavy mist. Such was the mist that leading units on both sides accidentally and briefly clashed. As the mist burnt away, I could see Lord Ieyasu's command post set up at the foot of Mount Nangu. His men took their positions on the battlefield. The young Lord Hideaki has taken an excellent position on Mount Matsuo. However, there are rumors of a plot by Hideaki to betray Lord Mitsunari. I, Otani Yoshitsugu, had placed my troops in front of Lord Hideaki's force. I'm concerned that other betrayals and insults will bear fruit. Will Lord Shima's fight after the insults he endured from Lord Mitsunari? Only time will tell.
Despite betrayal, we have crushed Ieyasu once and for all. The Toyotomi clan and name will live on.
After the Battle of Sekigahara, the Tokugawa shogunate dominated Japan. Those who fought Tokugawa Ieyasu became the Tozama, the outsiders. Disgraced, the Tozama daimyō and their descendants were forever excluded from positions of power. Instead, they looked abroad, prospering through commerce with China and the West. Threatened by the newly wealthy Tozama, Tokugawa Iemitsu, grandson of Ieyasu, closed the ports of Japan, banning all foreign trades. For over 200 years, Japan remained isolated. With no enemies, the power of the shogunate waned. Then in 1853, a fleet of American warships forced open the ports of Japan. The shogun was humiliated. Revolutionary ideas and machines from the West began to flood the country. With the shogun's position weakened, his enemies began to circle. The Tozama daimyo, even the emperor himself, see the chance to bring down the Tokugawa and rule Japan. It is a time of great political tension in Japan. The Tokugawa shogunate is in turmoil. The Satsuma and Choshu clans have rallied to the emperor in a bid to restore his power. Their troops mass in the imperial capital Kyoto in an effort to intimidate the political classes. They are led by Saigo Takamori, a samurai from Satsuma province. Respected throughout Japan for his honor and integrity, Takamori believes passionately in the emperor's cause. He is prepared to fight to see the emperor restored to political prominence as in former days. He stretches the patience of the shogun, and now it has snapped. From his base in Osaka Castle, Shogun Tokugawa Yoshinobu has sent a letter to the emperor's court detailing Takamori's treachery. To ensure that the letter reaches the emperor, Yoshinobu has sent his army to deliver it. Saigo Takamori has no intention of letting the shogun's army reach Kyoto. He has blocked the road at Toba and Fushimi. And so war has come. Your task is to prevent the shogunate army from reaching Kyoto.
Shogunate units approach! Our orders are to prevent them reaching Kyoto to the northwest! Block their exit from the battlefield! We've been given the slip. Chase these men down before they can march into Kyoto. The Shogun's advance has been broken! His men flee in disarray! Daylight is failing, and the enemy are setting up camp nearby. Let us do likewise.
The Shogun's army has been thrown back after a day of heavy fighting. He still maintains a significant force, and now his sword is fully drawn. There is no pretense of anything but open battle. However, the victory of the Choshu and Satsuma forces has brought political gains overnight. They now have support from nearby Kyoto, including from the emperor's relatives. Saigo Takamori and his allies are united under the imperial banner. The shogunate army now see that they defy the will of the emperor, drive them from the battlefield.
Now we fly the Imperial banner! Our enemy lose the will to fight! Crush them! The Shogunate army has been scattered! We are victorious!
Political maneuvering and military tension have become full-scale war. Saigo Takamori has won a great victory in the emperor's name. The shogunate army are in full retreat to Osaka Castle, the seat of the shogun himself. The imperial forces give chase, and the war goes on. Any pretense of diplomacy is now no more than clouds on the wind. Civil war engulfs the land. The forces loyal to the Tokugawa shogunate have been pushed back to Osaka Castle. The Satsuma and Choshu clans, led by Saigo Takamori, march on Osaka, ready for battle. Only a few days have passed since war broke out at Toba-Fushimi. The fearsome samurai, Saigo Takamori and his imperial army are marching against the Tokugawa shogun himself. Tokugawa Yoshinobu's seat is Osaka Castle, a formidable fortress surrounded by water. The scattered Tokugawa loyalists have regrouped here. They defend the town and castle in great numbers. Takamori's scouts report that shogunate troops have been spotted moving large amounts of gunpowder. The activity seems to be centered on the wall towers of the castle. Perhaps they are storing it there. The scouts also report that Tokugawa Yoshinobu himself has fled by ship. The shogun will have to watch his castle burn. Defeat the shogunate army, capture Osaka Castle, and burn it as a demonstration of the emperor's wrath.
Lord Takamori, the road to Osaka Castle is lightly defended. Claim it for the emperor! A ruse! The defenders have blown the drawbridge. Our path is blocked. Where are they keeping the gunpowder? The defenders flee! Osaka Castle is ours! For them!
From a ship in Osaka Bay, Tokugawa Yoshinobu watches his castle burn. He has now been driven from the southern half of a country he supposedly rules. Through courageous leadership in battle, Saigo Takamori has tipped the balance of power in Japan. His samurai followers see him as a hero, and his achievements are celebrated throughout the land. Following the destruction of Osaka Castle, Shogun Tokugawa Yoshinobu returns to Edo by sea. His army is smashed. Japan is in turmoil. Support for the shogunate in central and southern Japan has collapsed. Clans flock to the emperor's banner. Imperial forces march across central Japan, facing only token resistance. Tokugawa Yoshinobu, with insufficient manpower to defend Edo, surrenders the city and his position. Some loyalist shogunate troops, however, refuse to surrender. At Ueno near Edo, a loyalist army digs in. They must be removed. Confronted by the might of the imperial army, Shogun Tokugawa Yoshinobu has surrendered Edo and his authority. Saigo Takamori is succeeding in his quest to restore the powers of the emperor. He is now the most celebrated samurai in all Japan. Despite the resignation of the shogun, some troops around Edo are still loyal to his cause. They hold out in Kangeiji Temple on Ueno Hill, to the northeast of the city. They are dug in around the temple complex and must be removed by force. Saigo Takamori's plan is for a frontal attack, supported by reinforcements from the west. He knows that the attack will face heavy resistance and insists on leading the main assault. Takamori's imposing presence on the battlefield could be crucial in achieving victory today.
The enemy defend locations in the temple complex, my lord. Drive them up! Finally! Our reinforcements are on the battlefield! Kangeiji Temple is ours, my lord.
Victory at Ueno is the end of shogunate resistance in central Japan. Saigo Takamori has now all but assured the restoration of the emperor to his rightful role as ruler of Japan. With a loyalist defeat at Ueno, central and southern Japan are now united under the imperial banner. Shogun Tokugawa Yoshinobu has retired, and his capital, now renamed Tokyo, is firmly under the emperor's control. In the north of the country, however, an alliance of domains still oppose the revolution and the imperial army. Forces from Aizu oppose the imperial advance at every turn. Saigo Takamori resolves to snuff out any remaining resistance. Aizu, a domain in the north of Japan, has been home to stalwart supporters of the shogunate since the beginning of the war. They are the cornerstone of northern resistance. Saigo Takamori's dream of restoring the emperor depends upon this resistance being eliminated. The imperial army is approaching from the east, and Takamori must bring this force through the mountains. He knows the pass will be heavily defended. The Aizu defenders are divided into 4 groupings. The exact locations of these forces are unknown. Takamori must overcome whatever traps the Aizu defenders have set to win the north for his emperor.
Aizu lies at the end of the path, my lord. We must proceed with caution. My lord, the Aizu send the Azure Dragons against us. Eat it! Now they will learn the price of resisting the Emperor.
Saigo Takamori has dedicated his life to restoring the power of the Emperor. With victory at Aizu, the entire Japanese mainland has been conquered in this cause. Despite the abdication of the Tokugawa Shogun and the capitulation of the northern lords, there are still a few loyal to the shogunate's cause. These die-hard loyalists are retreating north. There is now a so-called republic on the island of Ezo. These men know that control of the sea is vital to repel the imperial government. However, the Imperial Navy has just taken delivery of a new ironclad warship, the Kotetsu. The rebels of Ezo know that it is stationed in Miyako Bay on Japan's northeast coast, and they mean to steal it. The mainland is now firmly under imperial control. However, to the north, shogunate loyalists have established a breakaway, Ezo Republic. The Republic controls a good proportion of the former shogunate navy. At sea then, the sides are evenly matched. The Imperial Navy, though, has a new weapon. The Kotetsu, a state-of-the-art ironclad warship, is more advanced by far than any ship in the Ezo Navy. The Ezo have launched a daring raid to capture or sink the ironclad. The Kotetsu is trapped in Miyako Bay, protected by a small imperial flotilla. Her engines are undergoing maintenance and will take time to reassemble. Until then, she cannot move or fire. Repel the Ezo Navy and protect the Kotetsu.
Enemy ships sighted. We must protect the Kotetsu! To battle! Artillery emplacements ring the bay and would greatly add to our firepower. Capture them! Of the Kotetsu reports that her engines are repaired, sir, and now she can join the battle. More enemy ships sighted, sir! The Kotetsu is saved! The Ezo Navy had scattered! A great triumph!
The Ezo raid of Miyako Bay has failed. Imperial losses have been heavy, but the Kotetsu survives. Now, at the Emperor's command, she will cut a path to Ezo. The Ezo Republic has failed in their attempt to capture the Kotetsu, and the coast of Ezo Island is defenseless. Takamori gathers the Imperial Army for one final attack, one last battle, to defeat the Tokugawa loyalists. The Ezo defenders dig in at Hakodate to make a final stand. The last of the Tokugawa loyalists are entrenched on Ezo Island. They are preparing to make their final stand around a modern star fort built just a few years previously. Saigo Takamori's long journey to restore imperial power and prestige will end here. However, his fleet became spread out during the crossing from the mainland. Takamori's forces are now split, scattered along the Edo coast. The Loyalist army see an opportunity to strike and advance. Saigo Takamori now finds himself on the defensive. He must weather the assault and then unite his army before Hakodate Castle can be taken.
My lord, our armies lie separated, and the Ezo move against us. We are in great danger. Hakodate is captured. My lord, you have done it. The Ezo Republic is crushed, and all of Japan belongs to the Emperor once again.
Takamori and his imperial allies succeeded in extinguishing the last embers of Tokugawa support on the 17th of May, 1869. A new government was formed with Emperor Meiji as its head. The Meiji government made sweeping reforms. The samurai lost their privileges in society, and the power and domains of the daimyō were abolished. Japan abandoned its policy of international isolation and rapidly became a modern nation. However, many traditionalists were resentful, and they had a powerful figurehead to rally around. 80 years after the Meiji Restoration, the great samurai Saigo Takamori rebelled. Initially successful, the rebels were hopelessly outnumbered and were soon pushed back to Satsuma. On a hillside with his few remaining men, Takamori made his final stand. Surrounded by thousands of government troops, he died a warrior's death. Saigo Takamori would be remembered as the last of the samurai.